Welcome to What is Going On in the UC, and today we're going to talk about uprooting fear. Okay, well, you know that the problem with the world, all the wars, all the crime, all the hatred, all the fighting, all the depression, all of the stuff that makes the world bad, including the selfishness, the greed, it all has at root fear. At its root, there is fear. Anybody who has been studying why people are bad or why there is evil in people knows this, right? Okay. The question is, how is it that we are expected to be agents to uproot this fear? Okay? As unificationists, we do not accept the cop-out that it's not our problem, that only God can do it. We don't accept that. We accept personal portion of responsibility, human portion of responsibility. We know that Adam and Eve were responsible for making the world this way, and we, in our flesh, are responsible for uprooting this. So we don't cop out. So we ask the question, how do we get rid of the fear? Now, if you study long enough, you know the root of the fear is lack of love. Yes, love will dissolve the fear, right? Because we fear that we will not be loved, but do we really understand that story? So what happens is many people go out and they say, well, I'm going to love my enemy, and enough loving our enemy-ism is going to result in, sort of the disillusion of all the fear in the world, and somehow some great higher energy state we will enter and the world will be a better place, right? But there's one fatal flaw in that. We are not responsible for making the center of fear inside each human being. We are not responsible for taming it. Human beings are responsible for taming it themselves. The person responsible to tame that place of apprehensive, anxiety and fear inside of each person is their parents. Well, some people just don't know this, but we have no excuse as unificationists. We're supposed to know this. And when they don't know this, what some people do is they try to be the cure for the fear in the world, and they come up with a lot of really good Band-Aid solutions that we've seen over the past, throughout Christian history, 2,000 years of loving our neighbor as ourselves. But because the root, the deepest fear, does not come from a lack of brotherly love, but it comes from a lack of parental love. Sometimes it's conscious, but most of the times it's a subconscious dissatisfaction in the relationship between the parent and the child, or the perceived incompleteness of the parent-child relationship. It's a haunting feeling inside of people that they must perform something, do something, in order to arrive at a state where their parents will love them more. Or, people are tortured in this way. Some people are tortured that because they do this or do that, or don't do this or don't do that, or have this much money or whatever, for whatever reason, they don't feel embraced by their parents. And part of the reason why they don't feel embraced by their parents is because their parents are not good parents. And no amount of fixing what we do will really seal up the hole that people feel. Now, True Father knew that the deep psychological reason why people are afraid and running around the planet like a chicken with no head, searching for this, searching for that, this excessive searching, it turns into all of the greed that we talked about when the video began. All the greed, all the war, all the anxiety, all the frustration, all the anger that we say causes an evil world. It all is rooted in a dissatisfaction based in a parent-child relationship that's just not cool. So if you really want to solve the fear in the world, we have got to have a revolution of true parentism. Now, if you accept that, a revolution of true parentism is the cure for this world. And I hope you do. You must also realize we've got a lot more calculating to do, because true parentism itself is rooted in something else that we're missing, and that is true marriages or blessed marriage. And you say, how can we have blessed marriage? But then, underneath that problem is a deeper problem. And I know you must have a headache by now, but you cannot quit because you're a unificationist. So you cannot quit. We've got one deeper nut to crack. It's like a walnut that has 3 layers of shell on. We work really hard to crack one shell, and we find another nut inside of it, like one of those Russian doll things, right? When we get deeper, we find that the thing messing up our ability to really have an entire culture of true coupleism and blessed marriage is the faulty relationship that we have with the purpose and concept of sexuality itself. Men are different from women, so the entire approach to the sexual relationship must be the way that God wanted it to be. You cannot say that you want to cure the fear in the world from the brother-sister position, because the deepest fear that runs the world of evil is a problem of the parent-child relationship. We've got to deal with the family culture, we've got to deal with the marriage culture, which means we've got to deal with the sexual issue. We cannot put band-aids over this core problem. So, I'm going to leave this with you, brothers and sisters. It's really food for thought. If you really embrace what I'm saying to you, you can weed out a lot of useless words and and we can stop collectively wasting a lot of time. I mean, the clock is ticking. People are going nuts. The family is in grave danger these days. So I hope you received this. Talk to you later.